Hey there folks, Santee at the Arizona Ghostriders here. We got mail. Can you do one on Stagecoaches and the companies that owned them? RV Sam. Stagecoaches in the Old West. We can do that. Prior to the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, getting around in the West was challenging. If you owned a horse and maybe a carriage, you could ride from town to town, exposed to the elements and sleeping underneath the stars. Or you could buy a ticket to travel in a stagecoach. Stagecoach travel had its own challenges though. The constant rocking could bring on motion sickness, and the cramped quarters were worse than today's airplane travel. Still, someone else was doing the work, and you were a mere passenger, safe from inclement weather in your comfy compartment. Well, a compartment that you could be sharing with up to 8 more people with your feet resting on mail sacks. Oh, you know what? Let's add another 6 on the roof to really give you the experience. The popular model we all know and love was designed and built in Concord, New Hampshire, hence the name Concord Coach. It was pretty cool technology for the day. The smaller front wheels allowed for tighter turning, and the thick leather straps created a hammock-like effect so the passengers would not feel every bump. The coaches were pulled by a team of horses or mules. There were different types of coaches which could accommodate more people. Hey folks, this is Charlie. He drives a stagecoach here at Old Tucson Studios, and he built this stagecoach for the theme park out of toothpicks. Did you build it out of toothpicks?
I built it for Bell Livestock.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who has the contract for the horses and the stagecoaches at Old Tucson. And he asked me if I could build them a stagecoach out of metal. So it's all metal framing inside, the doors, everything. The outside is 20 gauge steel.
Wow. It's pretty amazing. How many people can you fit in there?
This is a lot bigger than the original Concorde coach. This will hold 12 passengers. Original Concords held between 4 and 6 passengers.
Okay.
It's the mud wagons that held between 6, 9, and 12.
Oh, okay. And a mud wagon is a much bigger. I've seen a picture of it.
A mud wagon is an airier coach. That way they could get more people in there. In summertime, it wasn't as hot. And let the air through, so the smell wasn't so bad.
Okay. And also they could put people on the top too, right?
Yes, they also carried people up on top.
Huh. Well, wow. I'm going to take a ride from you a little bit later on, so
okay.
Try to take it easy on the bumps. You know, I got lumbago.
You'll appreciate your automobile.
Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Between 10 and 20 miles, there would be a station where the team may be traded out, and perhaps the passengers could disembark and use the outhouse or get a meal. Stagecoach companies could be notoriously chintzy in this area. In Mark Twain's book Roughing It, he writes, "For it was condemned army bacon, which the United States would not feed to its soldiers in the forts, and the stage company had bought it cheap for the sustenance of their passengers and employees."
Hey, Tenderfoot, catch this.
Oh, jeez. Hey, driver?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to eat?
What?
Do you have anything to eat?
Anything to eat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Eat that.
What is it?
It's bacon.
Why is it green?
Because it's fresh bacon.
In New York, we don't have green bacon.
Well, out here in the West, all the pigs are, they're vegetarian, and that's why it's green.
It smells moldy.
Moldy? Look, Sodbuster, you can eat it or not eat it. I don't care. But you ain't getting nothing to eat till we get to Carson City. Oh, God! Oh.
Hey, this mode of travel wasn't cheap, by the way. Traveling by stagecoach from Los Angeles to San Diego in 1871 cost about $10. Back then, the average blue-collar worker was making roughly $1 a day, so kind of pricey. How often would they have to change horses back in the 1800s?
At every
stage station?
every ranch, every farm. But what they did was the overland companies would pay the ranchers and farmers to keep horses in harness available for their stagecoaches.
In 1857, John Butterfield established the stage route that would help commerce between the east and west coasts. His company was called the Butterfield Overland Express and joined with Wells Fargo to create the American Express Company.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Wells Fargo became a major player in the stagecoach arena, reaching around 2,500 towns. After the railroad became the transportation mogul, smaller stage companies were contracted to carry Wells Fargo Express. Pioneer Stage Lines, Adams & Company, Burnside Monticello Stagecoach Company, and the whimsically named Sandy Bob's Stage Lines were just a few of them.
Most of the time, you only got between 30 to 40 miles done in a day, and that's from sun up to sundown.
Right, which would be about 2 to 3 stops, right?
Yes.
In many towns, like here in Tucson, coach travel was prevalent into the 20th century. Once automobiles became common in these communities, the stage finally disappeared. Nowadays, we see them in museums or theme parks and in parades. I encourage you to ride one if you ever get the opportunity. Let yourself be transported back to a different time and really embrace the experience. Oh, and if you get robbed by a ghost, I'm sorry, and just send me your address and I'll get your belongings back to you as soon as possible.
Ever seen one of these from the inside? Surprisingly roomy. All right, hand over your money.
Oh, hey, folks. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on down the trail. Wow.
All aboard for Apache Wells, Lee's.
All righty, folks. The horses are changed. We better get going.
And Lordsburg.